What was it, though, that split you guys up? What was the challenge?
So last May, there was a lot of triggers, and then I just felt almost like trapped, like I couldn't breathe, but it wasn't because of them being there. It was just everything that was happening. I wasn't regulated,
All the stress, all the unregulated nervous system, all the unspoken expectations that you don't know are there. Did you know how to talk to her about expectations? Did you know how to ask what she needed or what she wanted?
Sometimes I'm so in my head that I don't know there's something I want to talk about because I just avoid it completely. And then when I take a second and realize this is bothering me, I need to talk about it, then we can have a conversation.
I feel like my needs or even like wants have been ignored a lot in my life. And I feel like putting yourself out there just causes a vulnerability that I'm not comfortable with.
What was it that made you want to get back with him? Welcome back to the I Wish You Knew podcast. I'm your host, Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist. Today, I've got Chad and Brittany working with me on fixing the relationship issues that are causing some challenges here today. A lot of you out there are facing your own relationship challenges of varying degrees. I hope this is going to be helpful for you. In fact, I'm certain it will be. Let's tune in. And what was it about all this that got you interested? You're here today, so something must have sparked it.
So he actually approached me with attachment theory, and I was kind of turned off by it.
Most people are.
And so then it wasn't until we actually broke up that it was the day that I moved out, I just started getting attachment theory videos in my YouTube feed. So I'm like, okay, maybe I need to actually pay attention to this. So I did, and that's when I found you and realized that it made a lot of sense as to kind of what went wrong.
What was it that made you want to get back with him?
I never didn't want to be with him.
Oh, okay.
I kind of saw right through everything that he did to end our relationship. I knew that that was the untruth. So I really that's really when I dove into all of your videos and everything. I actually even emailed you last summer because I just knew that that was exactly what needed to be handled, and knowing how to handle it myself. Because I was never I never had the attitude that it was all the focus was on him. I understood that there were things that I did that triggered it as well. So just kind of finding our way back.
So once a week, what I'd like you guys to do, I'm going to give you a lot of homework here. Once a week, that's why we're recording actually. Once a week, you guys need to sit down 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That's it. You're supposed to be together more than 10 or 15 minutes a week anyway, but incorporate it. For me and my wife, it's Sunday afternoons from about 11 to 1, somewhere in that. We have a date that we go on and we talk about it and we do a weekly check-in. So we say, is there anything on your mind this week, good or bad? Any challenges, anything you're struggling with this week, anything you need my help with, any thoughts that are just kind of banging around in your skull? And over the years, we've been together 17 years now, 16 years married. Over the years, we've resolved a lot of the issues, so we don't usually have a problem every Sunday. But if there's an issue, we can bring it up. And I might ask her, and she might say, well, let me think. And she might say, well, there is something. And, maybe she has an insecure moment or something like that. Maybe she's wondering something. She wants to know about my friend relationship with this guy. How's that going? Is he a good person? Is he leading you in the right direction? Whatever it might be. She just brings it forward. And I just give her an honest answer. And once a week, we do that. We clear the air every 7 days. So nothing ever is allowed to fester, ever. I think this is something you guys need to implement immediately. Does that make sense? That's going to force you guys every week to start doing that. Now, the rule is going to be you can't hold anything back knowingly. Now, with Quiet Disorganized, there's a lot of not knowing. There's a lot of, I didn't know I felt that way 6 months ago, but now I know. That's okay. You guys can give each other the grace for that. But what you're going to have to do is if you realize something, if there's even a feeling, stop for a moment and think about it. I know that a lot of the people watching this show right now have had attachment issues for their entire life. That's why I want to invite every single one of you to check out my attachment repair program. It just might be the jump that you need to go from insecurely attached and lonely and frustrated to fully secure, connected, and bonded in a great relationship like nothing you've ever felt before. Check out my website, adamlanesmith.com, for the attachment repair program. Most of the problems you guys have, probably from what I'm hearing, it sounds like things you don't know. So then you guess and you get it wrong and you catastrophize and then it gets worse and then you don't talk about it. Because that whole time you're freaking out over here, like freaking out about life, freaking out about son moving out, freaking out about her moving in, freaking out about blah, blah, blah. You could have been asking a lot more questions. You probably gave him space to breathe, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what most women do. They try to accommodate and give space to breathe, but then the guy spirals off and goes nuts. So it's not your fault, but this is where you guys can actually keep each other accountable. So when you ask me, how do I make sure I don't slide back into avoidant tendencies? You can't. You're screwed by yourself as a human, alone. Fortunately, you're not alone. You have somebody by your side that's watching you like a hawk, pretty much 24/7. Yeah. Do you ever stop watching and observing him?
No.
No, not ever. Do you notice when he's going into those spirals pretty quick?
Mm.
Yeah. Do you pretend you don't so that he just doesn't get weirded out? You just stay silent?
So I actually am getting better at not staying silent.
Good.
So I actually checked in with him the other day and I just asked him like what was going on because he's
Mhm.
acting like something's bothering him.
Mhm.
And I have noticed that he doesn't feel cornered if I initiate the conversation when he's not in the room with me. So like
Oh.
when he went to the gym, that's when I sent him a text. So that way he's not feeling pressured to respond right away. He's in a place that like helps regulate him. And then he sent me like the longest
Yep.
text and it was really good.
Was that a helpful format for you? Is that easier?
It was, because it wasn't, even though she's never gotten in my face, it wasn't just right there and I had to answer right away, so I could read it and
Yes.
had a few sets to think about a reply, and then
Yes.
I could reply and then think about it in the sauna where I can just have that me time,
Yes. I like this. For most couples, I recommend not having important conversations over text. But there's a very once in a while odd situation like this where the processing time actually helps tremendously. My wife and I are actually very similar. So despite all the information I give to people, like texting for most people ruins it.
Yeah.
But if you're a couple that's more articulate in that way and you actually benefit from that, I recommend doing that. I recommend using the text messaging at least to initiate the conversation and say, hey, I've noticed we seem a little more distant lately, and and you could say, I know you don't mean to. I really do. I'm just throwing a flag for you really quick. Can you tell me what's going on so that we can resolve it?
Yeah. And then he came home and we were able to talk about it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
it
he
was
was like
that.
in a good space at that point.
That
Beautiful.
initiation was what I needed.
The text back that you got from him, the paragraphs, was that more than he usually communicates up front?
So like his initial
Mhm.
text, he kind of wasn't sure where I was coming from.
Mhm.
But then he kind of came back later with a lot more. And yeah, I think that was different for him. But like I said, just because he didn't feel that pressure, he had the space and the time to
Yeah.
think about it. And he even told me that he didn't realize anything was bothering him.
Yeah.
And so he was able to like process all of that. And
Yeah, understood. Okay. So a little bit of low insight on your side sometimes about your feelings. You're probably used to shutting them out.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny when you gave that example, that was basically hers. Like, hey, seems like you're distant or pulling away type thing. And instead of immediately going to like, what am I doing wrong? It's just like, hey, just help me understand. Like, what is there something I'm doing to make you feel this way?
Mhm.
And then she can give example, not the example so I can defend it and say, well, it wasn't like that. Just so I can understand like what actions I'm doing to make her feel that way.
Mm.
And then change the actions or realize I am doing that. I didn't realize it. And
How long have you guys been having that better communication like that? That's one example, but how long have you guys been? I hope it's not just that one time, but if it is, that's okay.
No, but it's been a lot more recent.
yeah,
Okay.
I think, the coaching, I know like 100% has helped
Okay.
us
Yeah.
so much because now he has an outlet. We both have an outlet
Good.
besides just
Good.
having arguments in our own heads
100%.
about things. Yeah.
100%. In your heads is the worst place to be right now because you
For
can't trust it.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I can tell you right now is we've got to get you guys out of your heads. So the weekly meeting going to be really important. Using text message communication is best because if you guys both have quiet disorganized, the more stressed out you get, the more your language center diminishes. And that's actually going to panic you because now you can't articulate the way you want to. But when you have written language, the speech center goes down, but the written language actually remains a little bit strangely. So you can use the written language and edit and edit and edit and edit before you send. And that gives you time to calm down, but it also stimulates the left side brain better that way. So your logic returns. And then you can think about it and process it. It's not in your face, like you said. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Initiating those conversations. Don't use it as the heart of the conversation, not the whole thing necessarily. If the flow is good, you can, but use it to initiate those conversations. And then when you get back together, you're already halfway into the conversation that way.
Right.
So then you
Yeah.
can roll into it. This is a great way to do it.
Takes the pressure off.
Takes the pressure off. It allows you both to communicate with a better version of your brain, because your brain right now is programmed to actually shut down speech to try to prevent misunderstandings. So you're going to have a harder time speaking, which will then freak you out because you're going to try to speak and then you can't, and then you're scared.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Text is vastly better for couples that are more dynamic like this. This is perfect. With that in mind, over time, what's going to happen is that's part of what's going to reprogram your brain structure. Your brain, what we need to do is differentiate Brittany from the rest of humanity. Your brain needs to understand she is a singular being and not clustered in with the rest of humanity. And we're going to create a separate category of humans that she's going to be the first one of trustworthy. Okay? And the same is going to happen with you for him. Trustworthy humans that's going to be differentiated away from the vast majority of humans that have hurt you guys in the past. The untrustworthy humans, the disappointing humans, maybe is another way to put it. Right?
Sure.
We need to have disappointing humans, trustworthy humans. Your brain hasn't built that classification yet. It sounds like you've put him largely into the good classification. Would you say?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it sounds like you're ahead of him that way. That's okay. Your brain hasn't quite been able to do that yet. You're trying to. I can see it mechanically, but we haven't got you there yet.
Yeah.
So what we need to do that is that bonding hormone vasopressin. It's actually by going through some of these hard conversations, it's actually going to make you trust her a lot more. So we need you to simulate enough vasopressin in your brain with her. That means her helping you solve problems, her working with you through the stress, her working with you through the challenge, her having the hard conversations and not freaking out at you. All of those, we need your brain to see that again and again. It's not just, okay, she's not going to be mad at me. It's, I deeply trust her and she's very different.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Definitely.
You look like you got a question though.
No, it definitely does, because that's the question I would always ask myself is like, Brittany's never reacted a way that affected me like with what I'm feeling now, you know? And so it's just a matter of building that trust.
It is. Yeah, your brain doesn't work on hypotheticals. Your brain doesn't work, the amygdala, the fear response, the limbic system, everything. It doesn't work on, yep, on paper, I should trust her. It doesn't work on, well, she's never hurt me before. It doesn't work on, Adam said I should trust her. Or attachment theory, that doesn't work. Our brain only believes experience. And number one, you've had a lot of painful experiences. And number two, you've probably blocked her out from being able to do vasopressin bonding with you. If you don't solve problems with her, she can never prove the positive. She can only not prove the negative. Does that make sense?
For sure, yeah.
She has never. She's not proved the negative. Well done, but she hasn't had the chance yet with you. You haven't allowed her fully to prove the positive. Proving the positive is what's going to build the trust, and it's actually going to cause your brain to lean toward her a lot more.
Okay.
It's actually that trust. Your bonding receptors are way more geared toward that than oxytocin, especially man. We have more vasopressin receptors than they do. You have some, but we have more. We're meant to bond that way. We have to bond that way. So you have to bond with her that way.
Okay.
There's not another option, which means you are forced to start doing this. Now, the weekly check-ins that you guys do, that is going to be vasopressin bonding for both of you. It's also going to be oxytocin bonding for both of you because it'll turn to positives too. But the solving the problems, that will be vasopressin. When you bring him a problem and say, hey, look, buddy, I've noticed something that you probably haven't noticed about yourself yet. It sounds like something's a little off. I'd like to help and I'd like to understand. Tell me what's going on. And then you go, and you're going to go, oh, she's right. And then you're going to work through it. And when you talk through it with her, huge cascade of vasopressin and oxytocin for both of you.
Okay.
And that's gonna bring you back together. And then you're probably gonna do the same for her. You're gonna notice that she's a little off, or she's sad, or she's whatever, right?
Yeah.
You probably notice when she's a little off sometimes too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing in return. Be stewards of each other. Care for each other in that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's number one. And then number two is you can't do this alone, even the two of you. The couple is not meant to be an island. So you've got Jeremy, right? You've got people, but You're going to need more people in your life who also keep you accountable. It can't just be her coming to you over and over and over saying, "Hey, buddy." You're going to have people. She might say, "Hey, something's off," and you might say, "I don't know how to fix it." Well, I'm going to go talk to my buddy. I'm going to go grab lunch with him, and we're going to talk it through and figure it out. Make sense?
Yeah.
Friends for you are going to be really crucial. Do you have good quality friends?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. Those are going to be people that you can open up with. Have you begun opening up with them?
Yes.
Does that feel better?
So it's more of like a family, but
Family's okay.
yeah.
Yeah. You need two connected, intimate relationships outside of this one.
Yeah.
Where you can say what you need to say.
Yeah, I do that.
Good. Do you have emotional safety in those relationships? Good. Do they like him?
Yes.
Good. Okay. That's the other piece. I want to make sure everybody likes you guys being together, not they're jealous and they want to pull you apart.
Yeah.
So is that making sense so far?
Yep.
So that's how we're going to build the trust here. That's how we're going to build a lot of the peace. That's how we're going to make sure that you guys actually stay together for the rest of your lives. Vasopressin is actually more important than oxytocin, to be honest with you. Oxytocin flows from vasopressin, but it's more important to have the trust. I get asked all the time, what is my attachment style? What is my attachment style? What is my attachment style? So I have finally launched the attachment assessment. This is not a short quiz that just spits out an answer after 3 seconds. This is a thorough, in-depth, science-backed assessment. Check it out on my website, adamlanesmith.com, and learn your attachment style, the severity of what you're dealing with, and some next steps you can take right now to build very secure attachment. You had asked how to support him, right? Tell me a little bit about where you're at internally lately. Where's your anxiety level? What's your stress level like?
Within the relationship, it hasn't really been super high. I do have like a lot on my plate, I feel like, with the baby and work and like our home and all of that. So I've been stressed about that kind of stuff lately.
Pretty stressed?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do when you're stressed out?
Isolate.
You isolate and pull away?
Yeah.
Do you notice her isolating and pulling away?
I do sometimes, yeah.
What does that do for your system? Does it feel good?
No, it makes me want to shut down too. Like, what's wrong? What did I do? You know, like, how can I fix it?
Okay. When you isolate and pull away, are you trying not to be a burden to anybody else? Are you trying to get distance so you can think? What is the isolation doing for you?
So it's probably all of that.
All of that.
Like, I don't want to project like my emotions on other people. Sometimes I just need space. Like I feel pretty introverted.
Okay.
In that way where I need to like regulate on my own.
Okay.
It's not helping me, because then I just like, the more I do it, then the longer I do it.
Right. Correct. Yeah, you're not. Self-regulation is important, but when you're that stressed out, co-regulation is actually really crucial. How do you do with co-regulating so far? Is it hard?
It is, because he has a lot on his plate, and I don't want to add to that.
You don't want to add to his plate by co-regulating when you're hurting. So you pull away and isolate instead, which makes him more stressed out.
Right.
Yeah, I hear that. No, I hear that. That's the trap most women are in, is trying to be hyper accommodating, and then they're starving, and then they're accidentally adding stress to the system that they don't mean to. That's one cycle that I see a lot.
Yeah.
Do you have too much on your plate to help her?
No.
Okay. Why does she think that you do?
I do have a lot on my plate, and she does see me get stressed and feel like I have to go 100 miles an hour all the time. And yeah, she's the type, she never wants to be a burden on anybody.
Okay.
But if there was something I could do, I'd rather take a few minutes to pause everything else to help her, you know, because that's the most important thing right there.
Okay.
You know,
I'm going to give you a task. Okay. I'm a big fan of, I teach the CEO, COO model in relationships. Have you guys heard me talk about this before? I'm a big fan of people creating executive relationships together. I think that we have to have roles. We have to understand what our job is in the relationship, and we have to understand how to approach each other. In the West, for the last 100 years, we have lost how marriages and relationships are supposed to function. We've lost that. But the business world has retained it, actually, perfectly. And they've perfected it quite a bit. Okay, so we're going to pull from the business world. Are you familiar with the business world?
I am.
Okay. Are you familiar with CEO roles and what they do?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, okay. Here's what I need you to do is be the CEO in this relationship from now on, okay? Now, you're not the only executive because you're the chief executive officer, but you're the chief operations officer, co-executives together. Okay. Your role, both of you, your job is to keep this company going. The company is your children. It's your family. It's your finances together. It's even the love that you share, your sex life. All of it is wrapped up in this company. Your jobs are differentiated that way. Chief operations officer, homeostasis. Keep the system, track the system, be aware of the system, find problems, dump the problems on the CEO's desk. That's your job. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Track, be aware, bring problems. If there's a threat to the system itself from inside, or even a threat from outside that you're detecting, you bring it to him. That's your job. From now on, your job is to complain.
Okay.
Because, and you heard him say, you detect problems way faster than he does. That's a huge asset. That's wonderful. Now, we need to create a system where you can bring that to him, where you feel so calm and peaceful and steady, and you can bring that problem to him and feel like it's going to be okay. You need to create that emotional safety for you. I'm sensing that there's emotional safety problems for both of you in this relationship, which is why we have to craft it in this role like this. We have to give both of you permission to do it, and then help you understand the other person likes it when you do it and is not going to be mean to you, because other people have been mean to you. Okay? You need to complain. If you don't bring problems, you are not doing your job.
Okay.
Now, I need to pitch it to you that way because your conscience you have a good conscience. You're very conscientious and accommodating and kind, and that's wonderful. But we have to pitch it in a way that creates more guilt for you if you don't do it.
Okay.
Guilt is going to move the needle. Guilt is what has to happen. So your job is to bring problems. And if you're not bringing problems, then you are being the problem. Cool? Now, your mandatory job, is to be the CEO that can always receive her reports. Always receive her reports. Doesn't mean you're perfect. Doesn't mean you don't have feelings. In fact, you have to. You have to have human feelings. Otherwise, this won't work. But you have to receive her complaints, her challenges graciously. You have to be able to understand the problems are there. Imagine if a CEO of a company, COO brings in something and says, hey, there's something off with our system. And he goes, oh, it's my fault. I ruined everything. He jumps out the window. Like, she's never going to bring problems to you ever again.
Right.
Imagine if she sees you in your office and you're like breathing heavy, drinking, like stressed out at your desk, and she can't bring you a problem. It's going to kill you. She's going to give you a heart attack.
Yeah.
Right? So there's not a world where you can be fake. And I'm not telling you don't share with her how you're feeling. Don't share with her your stress level. I'm not saying that. But the CEO has to maintain a certain level of approachability so that the COO can bring those challenges to you to protect the company that you're co-creating together.
Yeah, you almost have to separate yourself. This isn't a personal attack. This is just stuff that needs to be taken care of to help the company out.
Exactly. You've got some of those CEO skills. I like this. Okay. I figured. We need to generalize that skill set that you have there into this relationship. They're the same skills. It's just that this feels more personal and you don't have that buffer because you also don't have the larger term vision yet. The larger term vision is this company, this family, this is our company. I need to run it that way. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So what do you need from him for you to feel totally at peace where you could actually bring him challenges? So, and I'm saying that knowing he has to fulfill his role and you have to manage your nervous system, both. What do you need from him to be that CEO for you?
I don't know. That's hard because we've had a little bit of a pattern where if like a challenge were to arise and we try to talk about it, it kind of ends poorly. So it's made it difficult.
You're tiptoeing around this pretty tightly. What happens? How does it end poorly? Does he throw a glass against the wall? What happens?
No, but I mean he'll definitely shut down. Or like I know, to me it feels like if I tell him that something's bothering me or that something's not right and he doesn't know how to fix it, like that really causes issues, I guess.
So when there's a problem, when she's feeling a problem, right, and she brings it to you, how do you usually, you said usually you blame yourself first?
Blame myself first, react instead of respond, you know, like not that I don't care about her emotions, but I would be selfish and turn internally and not even validate what she's saying.
Yeah, yours are overwhelming. Your feelings are too overwhelming right then to tend to hers, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting overwhelmed. So part of that's going to be nervous system regulation. Part of it's going to be that. If you're having a trauma response, there's a therapy type called EMDR. Have you ever done the eye movement thing?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Was that helpful?
Yeah. I started doing some EMDR after I started coaching with Jeremy.
Perfect. Okay.
And
EMDR is going to be very helpful in that. It's going to reduce a lot of those responses for you. It's for many men, they report like almost a miracle, and it's a 90% success rate. So that will help. Most people go in and they don't know what to tell their therapist to do, but thoughts like, when she's upset, it's my fault, that's actually one you can eradicate through EMDR.
yeah.
So I highly recommend you say, her feelings are my fault. Nope, let's cut that out with EMDR. Try that one very soon
Okay.
with your therapist. I very much recommend that because that can reduce that quite a bit. Now, CEO thinking. Let's pretend you're a CEO in a company. And if you keep having that response, your company will go bankrupt, or this company will go bankrupt.
Yeah.
If you were a CEO who was in the middle of that trauma response, you're reconditioning the trauma, and you have somebody keep coming in and you keep having that response. Number one, the text messages I think will help. It's going to be a good first response. Number two, if you don't know what to do, what would a CEO do? Would you just stay in the meeting, cycling, freaking out in the meeting?
Well, first thing is breathe, right?
First thing is breathe.
Do that. The physiological side, is that what it is?
Yes,
yeah. And then
absolutely.
And then communicate, like if I am feeling overwhelmed or pressured by what she's bringing back, hey, like, can we take 5 minutes and come back to the issue? Because in the past, I would give me space and then I would just never bring it back up. But if given a space where it's like, okay, I need space, but I only need this much.
Yeah.
So she knows it's going to get readdressed again and not just swept under the rug.
Exact time limits. Yes, I like that. The 5 minutes I would extend actually to 20 minutes if you guys are stressing out. And actually, if it's something you really don't know what to do, table it till tomorrow. But put an exact date.
Yeah.
Like, we will talk about this tomorrow at breakfast, right? And we will both put thought into it. If you guys reach a point where you don't know what to do and you don't know what to do, pause. You're not going to figure it out by continuing to cycle and having a rough, awful experience. The problem, the solution isn't in either of your heads. So where is the solution? CEO, go. Where do CEOs find solutions when they don't have one? What do they do? Do they just invent it?
We talk it out.
You talk it out with who?
My partner.
So in a company, a CEO is standing there. There's a problem. No one in the company knows what to do, and he doesn't know what to do. What does a CEO do?
Reach out to somebody that would know.
There we go. That's it. Reach out to Jeremy or whoever, a friend, a pastor, whoever. You reach out to people so you can tell her if she has a challenge and you don't know what to do. Hey, Brittany, let's put a pause on this. I'm going to reach out to a couple of people. I'm going to figure out how to get this covered. I don't know what the answer will be yet, but I'm going to reach out and do some thinking and some digging. Why don't we reconnect tomorrow at 7 o'clock, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, and we'll talk this through. I'll tell you what I have found. If you want to look online too for things you might be able to find, let's look for information and come back to this meeting tomorrow night.
Okay.
My wife and I do stuff like that all the time. If there's a challenge, we go, I don't know what to do here. Let's go research. Let's reconvene in 24 hours. Super easy. Talk about take the pressure off. Anytime you guys feel pressure or urgency, there's probably an issue right there. And the issue is not, we just need to think harder. That's almost, that's never, I don't think that's ever been the solution anywhere in human history.
No.
And that's your guys' first default solution. That's what you lean into, and that's why it gets worse. It scares you more. You guys are trying, both of you, but
yeah,
do it the other way. Stop, go find.
The easier way.
Do it the easier way. And that's why I asked at the very beginning of this, do you guys default toward each other or toward working with humans, or do you default to isolation and loneliness? And you guys are defaulting to, I just have to think harder.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself asking inside your head a lot of questions you should be asking him? Are you guessing? Are you trying to figure out?
Yeah. And I do a lot of, if he is acting a certain way, I'll just compare it to like a previous situation.
That's what all of us do. Your brain's supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Are there places in the relationship where you still have assumptions right now and you're guessing right now? Yeah. Okay. One thing I'd really like for you to do after this podcast is both of you actually tonight. One thing you guys need to do besides the weekly meeting, implement a weekly meeting. But I would love for both of you to sit down and think of questions that you have never asked each other. Questions that have felt too big, too personal, things you've guessed, things you've wondered about, things you kind of assume that are a little bit awkward. It'll take a little bit of time. It's not just a tonight thing. It's probably actually over the next week for you guys to really piece those questions together because they won't occur to you all at once.
Mm-hmm.
But as you live side by side, you're going to have moments of confusion, sadness, weirdness. Write that down. Whatever negative feeling you have, it's because you haven't asked the other person a question to understand.
Okay.
A lot of couples, I want to ask you, but sex, right? Sex life. Most couples, they just fall into it and they just try to guess what the other person likes. So most couples, their sex lives is just two people guessing what the other one likes and trying to give it to them. And that's why most couples fail to have sex a lot of the time. I get people that come in and haven't done it in a year and they don't know why it's not happening. Stopping and asking, hey, how often do you like to do it? How do you like it? How don't you like it? What is your favorite parts? What would make it better for you? What would make this so much more fun for you? And then being able to answer the question when the other person turns the tables on you and asks you questions. If we don't answer the questions, that's also a problem too. So we have to have the answers in return. How accommodating is she in your life? Is she kind of like a silent shadow that follows you around? Does she have a pretty big personality at home? What's it like?
Not a huge personality, but she's just very caring and loving and will do
good.
anything for me.
That's good. Do you want more of her personality?
Yeah.
Yeah. What would more of her personality look like? I can give you examples if you need to.
Yeah, I'll take some examples.
Yeah. So most women with a quiet, disorganized pattern, they're used to making themselves very small and very invisible, very kind, very generous, very accommodating, very sweet, and legitimately nurturing and comforting. But they often don't want to bother the other person with even their hobbies, their interests, their desires, their fantasies, their hopes, their sadnesses, their I need comfort today, right? Most women with quiet disorganized are not likely to walk over and plop down in their husband's lap and say, I need a hug, right?
Yeah.
Not very likely, but doesn't mean you don't want it, right? You probably wish you could sometimes. Okay. If she walked over and plopped down in your lap and said, give me a hug, what would you do?
I'd give her a hug.
Okay. Would you be annoyed?
No, not at all.
What would your response be?
I'd hold her as long as she needs me to hold her.
Okay. Would you be glad that she had come to you with it?
Yeah, because I like hugs too.
Yeah. Most men who are with legitimately good, loving women, they actually want them to be a little more demanding. Is she demanding enough for your tastes?
No.
She's not demanding enough. Is that surprising?
No.
No. Do you want to be a little more demanding?
I think that would be really hard
Yeah.
for me.
Why would it be hard? Tissues right there.
Thank you.
What makes it? Let's even say assertive. What makes it tough to be assertive like that, especially if he's wanting you to be?
I feel like my needs or even like wants have been ignored a lot in my life. And I feel like putting yourself out there, it just causes a vulnerability that I'm not comfortable with.
Okay. Have they been ignored from him? I don't know the answer, so I'm actually curious. Has he ignored them?
At times. Yeah.
At times he has. Okay. So there were small tests at the beginning that you tried that didn't come out very well? Or medium tests, I don't know.
I guess just throughout the relationship.
Okay.
Not necessarily just in the beginning, but
Okay. So if he was more receptive to those challenges, you'd feel more comfortable maybe being a little more assertive.
Maybe.
Yeah. Do you want to be more assertive? Difficulty aside.
I mean, I feel like if it will be good, like for our relationship or for me and my life in general, then yeah, I would want to.
Okay. Your kids are watching you. Do you have any daughters?
No.
No daughters. Sons? Okay, that's okay. They're still watching you anyway.
Yeah.
Do you want them to be afraid to be assertive?
No.
Okay. How are you going to teach them that assertiveness is good?
By doing it myself, showing them.
Well, that's the right answer, but
Right.
but what do you want to do? Because it's kind of the trap you're caught in right now.
Right.
Your brain's trying to choose between two different things that feel very painful. And that's really the danger that you're feeling is both sides are dangerous, and no matter what I do, it's going to be awful. And I'm scared because I don't know what bad things will happen. That's what your brain's doing.
I have an older son that's 14, and his father in my relationship was really combative, and so I've watched my habits and things definitely be instilled in him. But I almost feel like the assertiveness or like the demandingness, like I feel like I had to lower my expectations.
Yeah.
And watching him get treated the same way that I was being treated, it's like I didn't want him to get his hopes up either.
Right.
So I never really thought about wanting him to be assertive. Like we both kind of taken on this role.
Yeah. One thing I've learned about moms with big hearts is that we can't really teach you to do things for your own sake, because you won't do them for your own sake. You've actually become very smaller and closed off for your own sake. I've learned, though, that the only thing we can use is the power of mom guilt.
Yeah.
To kind of crack you open and then help you do what's good for you by also helping you do what's good for your children. It's a good thing about you. That's a very good thing about you. I think in the end, your kids are going to be the people that save you, which is good. So you want your son to be able to be more assertive.
Right.
You want him to be able to live that, all your kids.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. We're going to have to help you become more assertive then in your relationship in ways that are comfortable for you. You don't have to be demanding. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to do anything crazy.
Okay.
But the more assertive that you can become, actually, you've heard that Chad actually wants you to be. He actually really hopes that you will be. Now, I'm mindful that you also are not receiving things very well on your end, so we need to give her space so that when she comes to you and is assertive, that you're going to be fully receptive.
Yep.
If you find it delightful when she's assertive, you need to give her that honest feedback and show her that so that she feels it.
Okay.
That's called emotional safety. What she's telling you right now is that she doesn't understand how to feel emotionally safe in a relationship. It's not that you're horrible and creating awful nightmares, but she's never felt it before in her life. Your role is actually to provide her with the ultimate emotional safety, and that's what I'm going to charge you with on your end. It's not your job to fix your emotions and everything so that you feel good. Your job is to fix everything you have so that she has total emotional safety for every child that's involved in your household, for her and for everybody under you. You have how many lives? Yourself, her, how many kids?
6 kids.
6 total kids?
7.
7 total kids. So there's 9 of you. You have the task of creating emotional safety for all 9 of you, including yourself. That's when I say CEO, that's what I mean. Now let's take that down another level. 7 kids. Let's say each of them has 3 kids. That's 21 grandchildren. Okay? Take that down another level. That's 63 great grandchildren that you're going to have. You're both of you together. You guys are building a legacy of so many human beings. And for the next 60 years, that's 100 humans then, just about. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And they're all dependent on your nervous system.
No pressure there.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But men rise to pressure, right? Women do too, for the sake of our families. You need this pressure. You're a CEO. You can't go backwards. If you quit, the company crumbles. There is no backing out. Also, though, if you're walking around your office freaking out with the blinds open and everyone sees you clutching at your heart, freaking out like, oh God, we're all going to die, right? That they're all going to think you're all going to die.
Yeah.
And that's 100 people over the next 60 years that live in terror. So you're going to begin this by building emotional safety for her.
Okay.
You're going to show her assertiveness. And you're going to help her be assertive with you. You're going to guide her in that. I'll show you what to do. It's a process, just a process, that's all. And as you feel that, that's vasopressin bonding for you as well. She's going to have capacity to give so much more to you at that point and so much more to your children. Not that she doesn't give it to them now, but from the depths of assertiveness, she can give even more. And she'll be fuller and richer. And then you get so much more out of her, so much more joy and pleasure there too. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's it. So the journey that you're undertaking, your nervous system, all that work you're doing is actually to get all that love and richness from her and for to your children. Everyone benefits.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, it does.
That your primary job going forward, emotional safety. So your primary job is actually to detect where you don't feel emotionally safe. Sound good? We're going to have to build a system where you can build that and bring those reports to him. But again, you got to feel safe doing so. Sounds like the text messages make you feel a little bit safer.
Yes.
Cool. Do you guys have a decision-making process actually in your home, now that I think about it? What happens when a decision needs to be made?
In the past, I've been accused of making decisions without giving her a voice. And I thought I was,
being assertive?
yeah, trying to lead, like, oh, this is how it is. But I didn't realize that I was just in my head so much trying to come up with the solutions and actually talking to her about it.
Okay. You feel like he's made decisions without you in the past?
Yeah, definitely. And I don't want to take that from him because I do understand like the structure of a relationship, and I do consider him to be the head of like
Sure.
our home and our relationship.
Sure.
There have been like some instances where I felt like I wanted to have a little bit of a say.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that that's changed, though. I don't feel necessarily that way anymore because he has changed the way that he approaches things when it comes to that. So we do talk.
Okay.
And he asks me like what I think or.
Are you confident that you have a guaranteed voice right now, or are you just kind of hopeful that he's going to maintain that change?
No, I don't look at it from a standpoint that it's something that is temporary. I feel like a lot of changes happened just in the past like couple of months.
Well, that's
to
good.
be honest.
It's all Jeremy's fault and
It's all Jeremy's.
and your calls.
He's wonderful, isn't he?
And even like the therapy that he's been doing, every time that he's come home, or even like before he's come home, we've had like the best conversations that we've ever had.
Good.
And it's just like a step in the right direction every time that he does it.
Good. Can I ask what makes those conversations good for you? When you say they're the best we've ever had, what makes them good?
It's just the openness.
You value that?
Oh, for sure. Because I do understand that he's apprehensive, and like there's trust issues there because of his past.
Okay.
And so I do feel like that gives him like the relief that he needs of
Okay.
that, and just a little bit of trust every time.
Would you like him to be more open more consistently?
I mean, not for my own sake, but for his.
Why not for your own sake?
Yes. No. Definitely. No. I mean, definitely. But I don't want him to feel like he can't be. I want him to feel like he can, bring anything to the table, and I'm not gonna freak out, and we can.
You want him to feel emotionally safe.
Right. We can get through it together.
Okay. So you want him to feel emotionally safe enough to be more open,
Right.
and you want her to feel emotionally safe enough to be more assertive.
Yeah.
You guys see how you care about each other a lot?
Hmm.
You guys really do. And actually, emotionally safety is going to bring both of those things for both of you. You being assertive would help you feel better over time and help him adore you even more.
Hmm.
And you being open is going to help you feel better over time, but it's going to help her adore you even more. Emotional safety is absolutely crucial here. The sense that I'm getting from you guys is it's not the things that are said that are a problem, it's the things that aren't said.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the guessing. It's all the wondering. It's all the, is he going to be mad at me today? Is she going to be mad at me today? Is it my fault? Did I fail? That's what's messing up.
Yeah.
You guys actually need to create a relationship where you can ask each other those questions. Are you mad at me that I brought this to you? Do you have capacity right now to have a talk? Right? Do you need a decision-making process? Is that going to be helpful for you?
Yes, it would be.
Okay. Are you trying to kind of wing it and just try to include her but aren't sure how?
Yeah. Try to figure it out myself depending on the situation for a long time and then finally bring it up.
Yeah.
Instead of,
Yeah.
let's talk about it now and we have time to think about it together.
Yes. So if you were a CEO, you don't make any decisions really on your own. That's actually the worst and stupidest thing a CEO can do, to be honest with you, because he doesn't have information about the operations side. He doesn't have information for the CFO, the financials. He doesn't have information, the CTO, the tech. He doesn't have any information whatsoever. So the worst CEOs in history are the ones that walk in and dictate, today I've decided that we are no longer making microchips, we're making pancakes instead. Everyone will simply make these changes for me by next week. That's the worst CEO on the planet, right? People hate that guy.
Yeah.
They bail out as fast as they can. Usually the COO is in the back rolling their eyes saying, yeah, next week we'll be making hot dogs. It just doesn't work. But when you gather your staff and say, hey, I think I would like to make a change, but I'd like to get feedback from everybody first before we do that. Here's a challenge I'm observing or an opportunity I'm observing. Here's a change I think could be helpful for us. Your department, does that make sense? Is there anything there holding us back? How long would that take? Do you think that'd be a solid idea on your side? Would that cause any negatives for you? Okay, could we overcome those pieces? What about our financials? Do you think this is smart? Do you think we should actually shift and make pancakes instead? Or is this, no, I think that's the worst idea in the world. Okay, well, explain to me why. Let's pull out the charts. Let's look at the data, right? And you pull out the ideas, but you pull them together. So if you make decisions without your operations officer, the entire company has to drastically shift without any warning or any notice whatsoever. And you are throwing the entire homeostasis of the system into complete disarray every time you make a decision. Now, maybe the decision's a good one, and you got lucky that time, and she's like, okay, he didn't set anything on fire. But maybe it's catastrophically bad, and maybe she's wandering around waiting for the day that's a catastrophically bad decision that she got no input on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the way you make decisions, same way a CEO does, you have a meeting, maybe your weekly meeting. Hey, can I run something by you? I've been thinking about this lately. I had this with my wife a week ago. We came down here to Phoenix. We're doing this. We film all these episodes. And I told her, I'm here like 4 or 5 times a year. And you like it here. And we like it here. What do you think about like renting a place here? An apartment, not moving our home, but like renting a place here so we could have a getaway. And I said, I'm just thinking about it. Right? Imagine if I just gone out and rented an apartment here in Phoenix. Like how much money? I don't even know. If I just threw that in and didn't even tell her. No. Here's what I'm thinking. What are your thoughts? We talked through the financials. We talked the emotional aspect. We talked logistics. We talked relationship. We talked our kids. We talked everything. And I didn't say, you make the decision. I said, bring me your information so that I can make the decision. So we're still talking it through right now. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea yet what it'll be. We're still figuring that out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's the decision process. Here's what I'm thinking. Talk to me about your side. What are you seeing? At the end of the day, he makes the final decision, but you have full input every time. Does that make sense? Would that be comforting? Would that be safe?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Does that make sense to you?
It really does. Yeah.
That's your job. Again, CEO. Best thing you can do is start studying. And here, anytime you hit a snag in the relationship, what would a good CEO do? If this was a company and I was responsible for the leadership in the company, what would a good CEO do? And the same thing to your direction. Anytime you hit a snag, if I was in a company, I'm responsible for operations and he needs this information for our company to function. How would a good COO bring this to a CEO? What would be a good intro? Use business language when you text him. Excuse me, sir. There's a concern in my department. That's totally fine. Use that. Lean into that.
Okay.
Does that make it any easier?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going to listen unless you talk like that.
See?
Okay.
Yeah. See?
Yep.
You're going to
Business
turn this into
meeting.
a fetish.
Exactly. No, but you're co-executives building a company. It just so happens that the company is a family. That's all. It's not profit-based. It's long-term family growth based is really what it's legacy based.
The
Does that make
best
sense?
profit there is.
The best profit there. Exactly. That's what you guys are building together. What questions do you guys have from this? Anything that we've missed? Anything where you're vague? Anything you're worrying about?
I'm thinking.
That's okay. Take some time.
I mean, you covered what I wanted to get out of it so far.
Okay.
So
Anywhere that you're uneasy, anywhere that you're worried you're going to walk out that door and have a fight, or walk out that door and stick your foot in your mouth, or
no, I think for me, it's if something hasn't been done, if I've never done something before, sometimes doing that first time takes a little nudge or a little push to get there.
sure.
And then you get the consistency, and it's I want to do the weekly check-ins. Have we done it? We kind of talked about something one time on a date, but
Okay. So your next step as a CEO, I would like to do weekly check-ins with my team. Cool. We call it a weekly huddle. I would like to do a weekly huddle with my team. Team, when is the proper time for us to schedule that? Here's my schedule. What's your schedule look like? Let's get 15 minutes on the calendar every single week, repeatable, so that if you have a concern, you always know when the next one's coming, so you don't have to feel pressure to try to find the time to talk to them about it. You know the day's coming. And so that you always know what to expect, so you can show up ready to go. You can do all your nervous system refreshment ahead of time, show up cool and collected in your business suit and ready to go. Right? That way you never have to try to figure out when to tell him something either. You have a weekly check-in to do it. So after this, you guys are going to have to get together and compare schedules and get a weekly exact schedule in place.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep.
Have you scheduled your couples time together yet, by the way? Like together happy time?
No, we don't have like a consistent Friday night date. We do spend a lot of time doing things, but
Yeah. I think that we don't.
You're
It's
good
not-
there?
Yeah, I think so. It's not like dates. I mean, sometimes like we can't go anywhere because we have a baby, but
Uh-huh.
I think that we spend like time together
Enough
at
time?
home, and
Is it enough for you? It might be. I don't know. I'm just asking.
I think that we could probably work in that area. I think that like our issue, because I really don't feel like we really fight all that much or like don't get along necessarily. I think that if they're ever, obviously like we're passive,
Yeah.
but also if things are good, like we just brush things under the rug.
Mhm.
So we do have a lot of good time together, but it's probably not as productive.
So it's the quality of the time.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
so.
When it comes time to spend time together, do you guys actually relax into the moment, or are you both so buzzing with stress that you're not really able to fully relax into the time together?
I think we relax. I think that we're comfortable enough with each other where even if we have like a lot of things going on, we can enjoy each other's company.
Okay.
But sometimes, like I said, it's not as productive as I think that we need in our relationship.
What would more productive look like to you? Help
Like
me.
having conversations or like doing things aside of just like our normal routines of, we'll like sit and watch movies together or stuff like that. And that's fine. We enjoy it. But then there's no room for conversation.
Oh, here we go. Okay, this is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
The emotional intimacy component.
Yes.
You want greater emotional intimacy. So it's not the amount of time, but the quality of time. It kind of circles back to openness. Okay.
Right.
You would like more openness from him. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to know more about what's going on in his head, in his world? Is that it? You want him to share more?
Sure, and not even like on a deep level. Sometimes like I feel like we don't even know what's going on necessarily like on a surface level because
Okay.
our evenings, and we're both spent, and I think that definitely with us being able to like manage our stress levels better,
Yeah. Oh,
we
yeah.
won't feel that way in the evenings
Mhm.
where we don't
Right.
want to do anything.
I hear that. Okay. We can make this easier too. Again, systems. Everything is a system, you guys. Everything. So my wife and I, we have 5 kids, and I build my business, and she's homeschooling the kids. So we're at the same point as you guys, right? In the evenings, you're pretty tired.
yeah.
For us, we schedule at least 45 minutes every single night, 7 nights a week, where we sit and we might have a movie on or something, an old movie or something, but we make time to actually have the conversations. And what has worked for us is what we call wins and challenges. Some people call it like ups and downs. I'm not a big fan of that. It's wins and challenges. What was a win for you today? What was something exciting or fun? It doesn't have to be massive. It could be, the baby, didn't throw up today, or it could be anything.
Right.
But it could be something that gave you a lift, a hobby that you did, a breakthrough you had, a great conversation. You share the good. And then I don't like to do the down where you share the most awful part of your day, but a challenge, something that challenged you that day. Might be something that's still an ongoing challenge. It's rolling into tomorrow. Could be something that caused stress, but you overcame it. Maybe it's maybe the win and the challenge is the same thing, right? But you share a win and a challenge together. And if it's a challenge, how did you resolve it, or how are you going to resolve it? It's not a complaining fest. And this way, you get to know your partner's priorities. You hear what their priorities are. You hear their joy. You hear their triumph. You hear their challenge. You might even hear something that you can do to help them with. Would that feel more intimate together? Would that feel a little more deeper than surface level? And you'd hear a little bit more about what's going on in his life, huh?
Yes.
Would that be satisfying? You can tell me if it's not.
No, it is.
It is, okay. Can you do wins and challenges
Yeah, I like that.
as a morale booster in the evening time?
Yeah.
Super easy. It takes a couple minutes if you do it, but it also builds a tremendous amount of connection and oxytocin in the evening.
It also gives, in addition to the connection, it's a chance for you to reflect on your own day, like what did go well, what was good.
Correct.
And okay, if it wasn't a down, but it was a challenge,
Yeah.
something good's going to come from it.
That's why I'm not a fan of the downs, like what was something awesome and what was something horrible today. I've never been a fan of that. We don't need to sit and just revisit the bad and just complain about it. But the challenges we're facing, especially one that was ongoing to tomorrow, then a nice, really good question you can ask next is, what can I do to support you in that challenge? You can ask her, you can ask him, what can I do to support you in that challenge? Or even just, oh, that's why you looked grumpy today, right? Like anything. So wins and challenges. I hear that.
Okay.
Can you guys do that? Do you sit together every night for a little bit? 20
Yeah.
minutes even?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Every night wins and challenges. Who's going to take responsibility for that?
I will.
It's on the clock, buddy. You said it's videotaped. So if you
All
go
right.
backwards, she can yell at you for it. So wins and challenges every night. Perfect. The weekly huddle, 15 minutes. After you guys leave here, you're going to sit down. You're going to figure out your schedules. You're going to create a time of day and week where you're not exhausted. It needs to be a good moment, fresh energy, Sunday morning, something like that, whatever it is, where you do weekly check-in. Hey, what challenges are you facing this week? What can we do to improve? If that doesn't work, sometimes I have my clients, and my wife and I do this. We just say, where's your score 1 to 10 this week? Where's your score 1 to 10 this week? It could be about our relationship. How are you feeling in our relationship 1 to 10 this week? Not how do you feel about me? How satisfied are you? How are you feeling in our relationship this week on a scale of 1 to 10? Because if you don't do the 1 to 10, everyone says fine. I'm fine. 1 to 10. Okay. How can we help you go up? How can we improve from there? What can we do to help you go up even 1 point? Right? Every week. And then, number 3, I need you guys to sit down and write down all the questions you wonder about the other person. All the questions that you don't know, even just the things that you're puzzled by. Hey, I think you like this thing. I think you hate this. I think you feel this. Write those down. I think you like this, but is that true? You need to write those questions.
Okay.
And I'm saying tonight, but I also mean this week, and I also mean for the rest of your lives. Because that curiosity is actually how you show the other person you're interested in them, number 1. And it's how you relieve yourself of stress and fear from guessing, number 2. It's going to make your life so much easier. And you're going to learn so much about each other and have so much more fun. You do that about dates. Hey, I think you like sitting and watching the TV every single night and zoning out, but do you really like that? I think you don't like going out on dates. I think you hate it. Is that true? No, I love it. I'm just tired. Okay, well, how can we troubleshoot that together where you're less tired and we can go out on dates more often?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
You make it sound so easy.
So easy.
I make it sound so easy.
It's systematized.
It's
just
a system.
Just following it.
Yeah, and I'm telling both of you here so that both of you are on the same page, so that when you have this conversation, you both are agreeing it's a good idea. So let's do it.
Yeah.
So Who's going to take responsibility for making sure these 3 things are implemented?
I'll do it, baby.
Okay, good. And that's you showing her that emotional intimacy is a priority to you, because she's told you it's a massive priority.
Yeah.
So that's excellent. Now, over time, what's going to happen is your sense of safety is going to go up because she receives you well. And you're actually going to feel good. Your testosterone is going to go up too, even more than it already is. I can see you're hulked out. It's good. It's going to go up even more. Over time, your sense of emotional safety is going to go up, and you're actually going to find yourself naturally being a little more assertive, which you're going to like. When you see her do that, praise that verbally out loud. Tell her you've noticed. Tell her you like it. Tell her why you like it.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Give her that 100%. When you see him being open, praise him. Tell him you like it. Tell him why you like it. Reward it. So many times we just stay silent. Oh man, if I say it, they're going to stop, right? It's going to be awkward. They're going to quit. No. Praise each other. Thank each other. That's my last tip to you guys. Okay. You got your homework?
Got it.
Okay. You guys can do this. Wonderful. Well, I'll be here when you guys need help again, but this will carry you forward into so much happiness. It's going to be unbelievable for you guys. And your kids are going to benefit too.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right, everybody at home, if you've been in any kind of relationship, I know all of this is going to be useful information to you. Implement these steps in your own relationship. If it's scary, that's okay. Talk to your partner about this. Maybe you watch this episode together with them and say, I'd love to implement all of these things. Guys out there, tell the woman in your life if you would like her to be a little more demanding and a little more assertive. Most securely attached men actually like that and find it very attractive. Even avoidant men do, to be honest with you. And ladies out there, if you are looking for a little more openness, a little more intimacy, but he doesn't know what to do, this method right here will work for you guys. Share the wins and challenges. Do that. I'm your host, Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist. Thank you to both of you for being here and your honesty and openness. I know it's not easy.